Hey family, thank you for tuning into Our Roots podcast, where only the strongest roots see the light, with 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲, brought to you by 𝗃𝗲𝗿𝗃 Candles and More. And if you haven't had the opportunity, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got a special situation going on today because apart from this being a live VIP episode, it's also going to be released for everyone to see as well. So we're very excited about that because we have a guest that we have in house once again. Someone that you guys have asked quite fervently about, someone with over 40 years of experience, quite a level of illumination and 𝗃𝗲𝗿, as we like to say, Mr. Florencio Freddie Guevara. Freddie, what's up?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Fabulous, my brother. So happy to have you back. People have been they've been beating
Good.
down our
Boy, boy,
door.
you should say.
𝗃𝗏𝗿𝗏. They said we need Freddie back. We need Freddie back. So I'm so happy you had the time to get back on with us, and we're really excited about, you know, people being able to call in, interact with you, and maybe get some spiritual clarity from all those years of wisdom that you have.
Here's the phone number.
Oh, okay. Now, everything that I would like to try and get through today has a lot to do with people asking one or two questions. I got a limit so I could get as many as possible concerning what I might pick up as their guardian angel, the spirit guardian angel, and any questions that could be asked either with the runes or with a very limited reading with the tarot. Whatever I pick up, that is going to be necessary.
Exciting stuff. And before people start calling in, I do have a question, Freddie. The runes, could you give us a little background on them and kind of maybe within what you're able to kind of let us know, how are they utilized? Where do they come from and how are they utilized?
The runes, you being a Babalawo, you can relate to this because just like you would throw your 𝗃𝗶𝗱𝗏, when I throw the runes, the patterns that come up tell me what the crowning is, what the person is gonna go through, what the person could see. Now, the runes normally go out about 6 months. They're more like immediate time. You have to really ask for a prolonged time. But you can also have individual questions answered with yes or no. It would remind you when you throw them of the shells and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
They are made up of 24 wooden runes. They're usually wooden, and they have their markings are red, which used to be always in blood. The ones that I use are very, very old, and they were done for me by a Peruvian shaman who's an ahijado of mine. And I haven't seen him in eons, but I'm sure he's very happy where he's at in the middle of the Amazon jungle down in Peru.
Wow.
In Iquitos. Yeah. Things that would be used with the runes, they are based on water. They were born in water. They originate as part of the non-phonetic alphabet from Scandinavia. Now, there are many ways to read them. I have adopted them in a way that my spirits that are of that line want me to read them, okay? And I use them with my readings to ascertain and to underline whatever came out in the tarot and whatever comes out spiritually, because they are very good for that. They're also good when it comes to getting an answer to one particular question in a particular way. They will go right to the point.
Interesting stuff. And Phil, you let me know if someone's ready to call in so I don't interrupt. But Freddie, when did you first find out about these? I mean, you being from the Bronx and, typical Puerto Rican Espiritista background. When did the runes kind of come onto your radar and you say, wow, it's something I'm actually interested in learning
Okay.
about and even divining with?
Roughly, this was in the 1980s. Yeah, in the 1980s, in the very beginning of the 80s, when I saw them as I was going to my favorite place on earth, which is the Barnes and Noble bookstore.
Nice.
And when I went, I saw this book, Rooms and Rooms, and I said, well, what is that? And then I saw that it was by a person who's of Scandinavian Slavic descent. His name is 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗄 with a double S. And it was the first time that I saw a book like that. And something told me to pick it up. And as I was reading through it, it kept drawing me further in. And I kept, at the end, I realized that there is a rune guild that is right here in Austin, Texas, where he's at. And it's like a center from which a lot of the books and the Rune Guild's website, etc., are there, and it's open for everybody.
Now,
Now,
forgive me.
one thing about the runes, there's like everything else in the spiritual world, there's a lot of charlatans always trying to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people out there who are trying to get away with having a blank rune. Does not exist. That is an escape valve for whoever don't know what they're doing. There are 24 runes. They have a specific meaning, all 24, and they have to be interpreted, which is why they do very well with question and answers. They have to be interpreted as what they are really saying, just like when you go to a Chinese person to read you the I Ching. It's all interpretations. The same thing you could say with the 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏. A lot of it has to do with interpreting what sign comes out. So there's more to the eye than this than people think. Okay. Once again, like I always say, everything is related in all the different cultures of the world, because God has to speak to each person through their individual culture, and these people might never even meet. Therefore, God cannot use the same type of language, so to speak, as with one culture as he does with another. Some cultures would respond better, as the Scandinavians and the Vikings did, with the runes. Others in Africa, probably with the cowrie shells. And still others in China with I Ching. There are people that read bones. And in Iran, there are people who are very well versed in reading beans. Yes, beans. Okay. And of course, a lot of people think that in the certain cultures, things are very taboo. Everything that is taboo is like forbidden fruit. Everybody wants it. Okay.
Absolutely. Now, with the runes, now I may be mistaken. You said that you use ones that are engraved with wood. Are there any that are engraved in stone? I don't know if I've seen those
Yes.
before as well.
Yes,
Okay, I
there
wanted to
are.
make sure.
Yes,
What's
there are.
now the original rune symbols and stuff like that? Were they discovered, or was it under spiritual inspiration by somebody who was kind of like a messiah figure, or is it just ancient language like from the
Yeah,
Scandinavians?
they are so ancient, it's unreal. Um, there is a very long history to them, and there is a book called Rune Lore, Runelore, by Edith Thorson, and this is the best textbook anyone can have. It gives you a folkloric uh, history of the runes, which appeared under an Yggdrasil tree in water. Now, in the beginning, there were different numbers and different types with the runes. Sometimes they were 16, sometimes they were 33. But as time went on, everything settled into the 24. They were also used not just as like little square or round stones, but they were also used in long staves, what they call staves, which are pieces of wood that are long and they are thrown up in the air, and then when they fall down, that's the way it comes. And many of the times the Vikings would use them to find out whether or not it was okay for them to proceed with a particular battle or not, or a journey, or any other type of major situations that they had to go through. Now,
Absolutely.
one thing about the runes, we have male runesters and we have female runesters. No, the Vikings and the Scandinavians in general are extremely well known as being super equality minded. So a Viking woman will slice off your head as quick as a man would.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, even learning about history. Sometimes I'm on YouTube, and they have these YouTube shorts that come on, and one of them was about Viking culture, where a woman in that time could actually be a head of household, have political influence, have a coalition, and it was really shocking to me. Not because I'm adverse to it; I think that's perfectly fine, but just to think how intense that
Mhm.
demographic was, and that the women were right in the thick of it with the men.
Yes.
It's
Oh, yeah.
really
And in
it's incredible.
England, too, in England, in the English, in the British Isles, Ireland, Scotland, you have those histories also. I
Yeah,
mean, there were some very tough ladies in the history of the old England way back that really, would shock people today if they happen to be of that type that thinks about being only male oriented. No, that
yeah.
was not.
I really love those concepts because it kind of takes away the need for feminism. It's real equality where we're not necessarily honing on
Yes,
what we should be doing or not doing. It's just equality. I
exactly.
saw a short on Genghis Khan's granddaughter, where she was as much of a warrior, and she had this thing where if a man could wrestle her, they could get married and stay, and she actually never got married because no one could ever defeat her in combat. And every time a guy lost, he had to give her like 3 horses. She died with like 3,000 horses. You know what I'm saying? So
That
I
sure
don't know
would
whether
make
she won or lost that. Really, you
that
know.
sure would make for some rough datings, wouldn't
That's what I'm
it?
saying. Yeah, no, definitely. Now, if Freddie, you being a student of so many divination systems, how do you choose which one to use on a consultation basis? Is it how you wake up that
that
day?
re, that
Spirits?
falls strictly on who your guardian angels are and who your major entities in your quadro are, in your spiritual quadrant. Now, the the major ones that I have a lot to do with the tarot, with cards, even though the tarot was not the first card that I used. I had a deck of the Brisca Spanish cards.
Oh yeah, la baraja, yeah.
Thrown at me, and they said, read it. And I said, what? And the person was an elder who did this. And I said, hello, I came here for you to read me, not me to read you. And I don't even know what I'm doing. And they just said, just go ahead and do. You see me do it now. Try. Just go in to see what happens. Well, when I finished, about a week later, I got this urgent phone call to come down right away because there were 3 people waiting for me.
Wow.
So and from there, then I went on to the tarot. I like the tarot when it comes to doing readings because I usually throw it in a horoscope method, so I reach every area of a person's life just using the 12 cards for the 12 houses of a person's life. I will touch every area of your life and do it in a way where it gets right to the point of what you really need to hear. Because many times people come and they have already a set idea of what their problem is. And yet the spirits might just say, no, baloney, this is where your problem lies. And when it comes out, then they realize exactly where the root might be. Now, the difference with what we call the baraja, the Spanish cards, is different because the Spanish cards, there are 3 different throws that you have to do, plus the last one, which is the wrap-up. Now, that could take a good 45 minutes to an hour. And it's the ones I call 𝗃𝗶𝗱𝗏, the gossipy one. Or whatever you don't want to hear, look out because it's coming out. And the number of throws has to do with when you break them up in 3, 5, and 7. Why that number? 3, 5, 7 is the first word in the name of God. The entire word, numerical word for God is 357. Under it, 816, and under that, 492.
Wow.
In that order, in that way. That is when you put all the Almighty God's name. Okay, so numbers are not any accident, and this is why when it comes to Yoruba, the numbers are everything. Everything. When a santero throws out and they start putting those numbers together, that's where the spirits are. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Now, being that you studied so much, has numerology been something you've delved into as well?
Yes.
What have you been able to gather? I mean, how do you incorporate it in your routine, especially, possibly with the other things or within itself? Like, how does somebody interact with that?
The way I usually incorporate it has to do with names, dates, titles, and addresses. Yeah, there are certain numbers you do not want your address to add up to. Yeah, because they can bring sadness, they could bring blockage, they could also bring wide open roads and universal influence, especially the number 9. If you were to add up the address, the numerical address of your botanica, what would you get?
Let me see this math.
Wait a second. Yeah, everybody in the chat do that. Do your address.
4, 9, 5, 5, 10, 19, 23.
23, yeah, but doesn't stop there. 2 plus 3 equals 5.
5.
So it vibrates on 5. That's number 1, the number of Oshun.
Oh yeah.
Number 2 is also a number that has a lot to do with beauty, with Oriental things, and a lot to do with showmanship. What we're doing right now, television,
Wow.
outreach, entertainment, etc.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never
Okay,
known
so
that.
you got a good number there.
I think so, right? And you know, I owe that completely to Erica. Erica was the one who found the location, and she had a really great like with most things, I just do what she tells me. And
Hmm.
you know, and it's worked out quite well. Now Freddie, with the runes, have you identified within your own spiritual court that you have spirits that have to do with like the Viking 𝘃𝗺𝗃𝗃 and stuff like that?
Yes, I do. Of all things,
Wow.
one of the main reasons that I had to be scratched over Sarabanda
Oh wow.
is not because of any African spirit. It's because I have a Viking spirit that needed to really be tamed.
How'd that
And
work out?
this,
I mean, as much as you can get into it, how did that kind of materialize?
oof, that was like, I really was trying not to go there.
Oh,
And I had been told, and my spirits had come down in a temple of Palo one time, and they had said that had no need to be scratched because I already came with that crown.
yeah.
However, no one told my Viking that. And he kept coming through in such a very, very rough, tough way. And he would really leave me worn out, really worn out. And he
Wow.
was the least friendliest of all that
Sure.
I've had around. He didn't like anybody. And so it took having to go to El Palo to get him to see exactly what his real position with me was. Because if it was up to him, I'd have a big, gigantic swinging axe,
Yeah, wear
just
some
like the
horns or have
berserker he
a
was.
boat. Yeah.
He was a berserker. Yeah, he was a berserker. I mean, they saw nothing but blood in front of them when they were in war. And they just swung that double axe, and that was it. That was it. Go round, 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 round. Everything in front of them was game. So, like, in the spirit world, this spirit came through real, I would say at that time negative, like, it's lack of a better word to use. So we had to literally put this one in Clorox.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh,
This spirit, and he's still very hard to speak to and very hard to have a conversation that doesn't have to do with what he just said. He's very to the point and he doesn't like to be questioned. And he's very happy with all the pots. Trust me. And a lot of people always ask me, I see these horns and horns. Yeah. I know who they belong to.
Ooh.
But and they always say, yeah, but he's not black. No, he's not black. People think that every single spirit in Palo has to be black. Think again.
Hmm.
Think
So
again.
we got a question here from the audience.
nice, nice, nice.
Okay.
This is from Trinarican Goddess. I don't know if you can read it on the screen, but I'll read it out loud. It says, I wish I can call in, but it's super loud. So they want me to ask you, Freddie, if you can speak on his experience with the Mano Ponderosa.
La mano poderosa.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, yes. La mano poderosa. Number one, that means that this person has a lot to do with gypsy spirits, the Roma. That means the Mano Poderosa has a long history of being in the lives of spiritual warriors. This person, in whatever career he's in, has had to fight and claw his way up. And there's a whole lot more coming. This person is destined to go higher than they expected themselves to go. They have to have la mano poderosa everywhere they live, meaning in the room, especially where they sleep, with the room wherever they have an altar, which they better have, and they need to also learn a little bit, at least enough to handle things concerning 𝘀𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗁cy, which is the reading of palms, because these lines say a lot, and they have to learn how to at least read them and at least know a little bit about them. Everything that has to do with what this person has gone through, I pick up very much also a Middle Eastern influence very strong with that person. At some time, there will be dealings with people from the Middle East, whether they are Muslim or Arabic or Jewish, or even as far east as Hindu. Okay. If this person is married, they must be very careful with their children and be extremely protective in a loving way. But his children need to know, as we say, pan pan, vino vino. A spade is a spade, a glass of water is a glass of water. In other words, this person's children cannot be given fairy tales to keep them quiet. No. They have to be given the cold, ugly truth. That will keep his children safe, if he has children.
Interesting stuff. Definitely, Freddie. Freddie, I didn't know you were scratched, actually, so now I'm going to take advantage and start picking your brain with that. For all the people who don't know what Palo, Mayombe, Monte, Briumba, all these different things are, what's the best explanation you can give to people who are like, what is that?
Well, each one is a separate religion, just like Catholicism, just like being Hebrew, just like being Muslim. They are totally independent religions, and just like any religion, they have their rules, regulations, traditions, and culture. Para Mayombe, first I want to say I don't use it as much as other people would like me to use it. But I will say por encimita that there's two places from which this originated, and there's a few types of Palo. One area, of course, is the Congo. And another area has a lot to do with Uganda, or what was the area of Uganda. And Palo can be compared to a very rough, tough version of Santeria. Palo is not a religion for anyone who is faint of heart. It's not a religion for anyone who thinks they're going to get over on the entities that rule it. Because in Palo, whatever has to be done is done. It is also a much, much bloodier type of religion, because for almost every single thing there is a sacrifice. Just about every single thing that you have to do.
Wow. So we got more questions here.
Sure.
Nice.
Joseph, I'm actually going to put it on the screen. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go.
Malachi, can you ask Freddie to speak on Ofun or Wonring and what it entails for someone who got this in a reading? Also, what steps to take if many spiritual people have told me my spirit guides are native? So, Ofun or Wonring would be more within my scope, which it's a great Odu, but I'd love to hear Freddie, if you could educate this brother on the Native American spirits.
Yeah. I've never heard that sign come out, but you have.
Yeah, sure.
So briefly, in a few words, tell me really so I can pick up what I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ofunfuni or Ofun Wonring is it's an Odu that speaks a lot about initiation ultimately, you know. Getting oriented and prepared to be able to do that. The biggest obstacle for Ofunfuni is being around the right people, because, you know, being around the wrong group of people, you get distracted, or they try to distract you so you don't accomplish your goals. And then when you look at the spiritualities that have to do with the Indios and stuff like that, they're all about the right path, like you say.
All right. Yeah. Okay, good. Because I pick up that this person needs to really enhance their involvement with their native indigenous spirits that I pick up are not just Native American. No, this person has spirits, indigenous spirits from South America, from Central America, from the West Indies, and Canada, in addition to the Native American ones. Okay, and they have quite an army of indigenous spirits. So they're going to have to be quite careful how they enter, because Indian spirits, indigenous spirits, so to speak, are very much very hesitant to participate with sacrifice. They prefer to speak to the person's ear, meaning in your head, where your real soul is. They don't like often coming through the medium, although, if they have to, they do, especially when it has to do with ceremony. Like if that person was, their guardian angel was an indigenous, then they would have to come through during any crowning ceremony, misa, okay, among other times. But again, those are far and few between, because the nature of indigenous spirits is to love, adore, and protect and live by nature's rules, not men's rules, nature's rules, which is why they are very hesitant to kill anything. There has to be a very strong pact made with those spirits. If this person, as I think they are, picking up to go into Palo, they had better first educate and really fall into a good mentorship with a person that is well versed on Indian spirits, because they don't even think like the rest of us. Okay, and that's why they always stand out. And it's very rare that you see a lot of Indian spirits around Paleros. You'll see them, just like with Viking, but they're not the norm. So this person, like you said in the sign that you interpreted, meaning that they have to be careful who they're with, exactly, they must be very careful. Otherwise, they're going to wind up with a rebellious quadrant that's going to tear their life upside down.
So Malachi's got a reply based off of what you were saying, Freddie. So, Josie, you want to read it?
Of course. You are absolutely correct about my connections to my native lineage. I just want to figure out what should be my first step to actually connect with them properly. Do you have any advice on how to, Freddie?
Yes. The first thing you do is on an altar, everything that is indigenous must be on the floor. They do not like being up in the air because that's where they're going to put you. They like being on the floor. You should have some image of a turtle. It could be a sea turtle, it could be a tortoise, it doesn't matter. Everything that has to do with indigenous spirituality, these are books that you should be looking for and reading, all types, especially on the way their spirituality is evolved, because there is a very good reason why the priests, like especially the Father Casas in his diaries that are published in Spain, why so much gold was melted down, because these pieces of gold were sculptures of entities that they worshipped that could sometimes be in very compromising positions. Okay, if you follow where I'm going. Because indigenous people are very down to earth. They do not view intimate life as anything but part of the spirituality and culture of everyday life. So the Spaniards, which were hypocritical prudes, when they saw this, they didn't know what to do with it, so they melted it. As they tried to, as they did, destroy a lot of the indigenous religion and replace it with the cross, which really did become a cross to bear for the Indians to this day. Now, that being said, getting back to this person who made this question, if there are indigenous information centers near you, reservations, anything that has to do with teaching, there are certain universities, particularly in the Midwest, areas like Wisconsin, areas like Washington State, those areas like that, and North Carolina. You may find a lot of information there. Florida also, when it comes to the Sioux Indians and the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏, especially down the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏. Okay, there are many other tribes, but there are places that have museums on them. You need to get a lot of information from sources that are very, very attached to real indigenous life. Because in this country, you're not going to get the truth all the time.
Oh, Freddie, I think we have a phone call. How exciting.
Sure.
Okay, so hang on here. You're live on the air. Who's this?
Hello, family. This is Omiyoko.
Hey.
Hey, Jen.
How are
Bendiciones.
you? I'm sorry I missed the last misa, but I have a question for Freddie. I've been seeing a lot of hawks lately around me, and I'm wondering what that meaning is.
Hawks. Well, hawks are an extremely spiritual animal, and they are very, very much rooted to anywhere in the world, which means any one of your spirits could be bringing this to you. My guess is, knowing you a little bit, as I do, that it has to be a spirit that is quite native to northern Africa, very Arabic, but a very old soul. Is not a Muslim spirit. Is way before Islam was even instituted. This spirit is a bit of a, has to do like the Berbers. He's a nomadic spirit, and he's a male, and he's on horse, not on camel, and he dresses like in a brown orange brick color, and the hawk that he has is covered as it normally is, unless he's going to release it to entertain himself as well as to attack. Okay, and sometimes they're used in hunting also. But this spirit has a lot to do with that Arabic type of culture, the nomadic type, wherever that hawk would come back and indicate a no-go, they would change directions, especially when it came to water. Because hawks, of course, have a vision that's unreal.
Interesting stuff, definitely.
I wonder about, does that have to do with the Egungun ceremony that I just did? Because it's like, it literally just happened like right after. I mean, 3-4 times a day, I see hawks just flying by.
Okay.
That's not like
that
a common
is,
bird that you would see.
yes, that I understand what you're saying, because for quite a while, every time I gave a reading out of the corner of my eye by the window of my temple in Kissimmee, when I was in Kissimmee, we had a nest of red-tailed hawks, which are up there.
Wow.
And that was constant. And the huge owls, great horned owl, I would see them every once in a while also. But that's it happening the way it did. It tells you that they approve of whatever ceremony you were doing, and that it is a way of communicating that spirit through those animals what is meant for you.
Definitely. Yeah, Gungun can definitely open things up. And then, ironically, the hawk within Ifa is seen as very progressive, animal where it's about moving forward, opening things up. Obviously, it moves at a very accelerated rate. So you have to pay attention to totems, the signs and things that nature, because it's always speaking to you. So it seems positive, just like Freddie stated.
It's just like I said, everything is connected. Everything is connected. There's no such thing as the perfect path that knows everything. No. The only one that knows everything is up there, and he ain't talking.
Thanks, Omiyoko.
Blessings.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all.
Blessings.
Sure thing, Mama. Te quiero.
So, Fred, I mean, forgive me for being a broken record, but back to Palo, right?
That's strange coming from a Babalao.
I'm a huge fan. I've been very blessed. Practically all of my god brothers are paleros. It's a religion that I love very much and respect very much. But you made a great point that I want to bring up. Because you've been involved with this, practically your whole life at this point. And you mentioned you don't utilize it that much. You don't overstimulate it. What can be the negative effects of somebody overdoing it with that?
Oh, God. Number one, you can become the type of client I get rid of immediately, and that is the one that sees a brujo behind every single leaf that turns, behind every toilet bowl that doesn't flush. Everything is, me están haciendo brujería, because paleros have a one bad habit. And when the palero starts to feel around the waistline, pains on the side of the waistline, somebody's sending him something.
Wow.
Or her. Somebody's messing around. Because they love to play what they call 𝗀𝗶𝗸𝗁. They love to see who can throw the ball better.
Oh God.
In this case, the entities. So like they'll throw a spirit at you that they know is going to cause havoc in your house and see, did you pick it up and throw it back again? Of course, that starts breeding these types of people that they walk in a place, and as far as they're concerned, everybody's an enemy, and like it's very paranoid many times. I find many paleros that are going ape shit with this. They go and they become very, very paranoid. It's like somebody who does weed 24/7. Paranoid.
Yeah.
Very paranoid. Yeah.
Well,
You know me, le cucan la lengua y viene.
No, you know, honesty is one of your virtues, my brother, and I think what you're saying is very wise. When you have something as powerful as a ganga, right? You're talking about
Yes.
all of nature in one space. You know, you have to have a lot of self-control, and that's why back in the days, from what I understood, sometimes they weren't scratching younger people because, you know, when you have a certain age, you have a certain amount of hormone and testosterone, and you react a certain way, and you can really hurt people, but more importantly, you can hurt yourself. And you see that now where that's the first response. Oh, me están tirando, yo voy a tirar más duro. And before you know it, los muertos están caminando por la cuadra, and it's just...
And everything is like they forgot prayer and they forgot God. And hello, yes, we do take an oath. Sambia arriba and Sambia abajo. Because the one downstairs is the one who always serves the one upstairs. Because the one upstairs says, hello, I got an errand for you. And that means somebody's going to be tested. And the one downstairs is always telling the one upstairs, you see, your planet ain't worth nothing. Blow it up. That he is the most loyal servant of God. That one.
Yeah.
Down under.
Yeah.
And we paleros have to take the oath when we say Sambia arriba, Sambia abajo. That's not to be taken lightly. But just like any Wiccan will tell you, just like anybody in any religion will tell you, what goes around comes around. What you threw at somebody is coming back to you triple.
It's a boomerang.
Everybody and their great grandmother has a guardian angel. Duh. Do you really think they're going to be taking it? Sooner or later, it could last even years if it lasts that long. Sooner or later, there's a reckoning.
Yeah.
And when that reckoning comes, then you see all these elder people coming and for readings because I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't know why. And I just say, bitch, you know why. You know why, because of what you did. You know, maybe you took out a baby 7 years ago and you thought nobody knew that you took that child out because it wasn't your husband's.
It's blood on your hands, you know, and that's how
I've run into that too many times.
Wow.
Too many times when people always are screaming, I'm innocent. What are they doing to me? And then I start looking back. And when I get my madama loose, forget it. That's when I open up my eyes and maybe they're out the door.
No, know, it's scary. It's scary that, you know, there's aspects of our community that delve into that, because that's really no way to live, you know. Rather
No,
than
it isn't.
focusing on prosperity, accomplishing goals, elevating,
Yeah,
uplifting, you know,
exactly. And this is
this,
why these stupid churches are taking away all the people within this field,
you know,
because we got such a bad name because of our own kind doing stupid things, and they're getting on Facebook and showing everybody secrets that they're not supposed to do.
I don't,
I mean, I shuddered the other day when I was watching the actual, cortarlo and the whole. I mean, duh,
it's too much.
no. There is such a thing. Sometimes I wish the religion would go back underground.
Yeah,
That way, the antennas would really find each other again,
it was a different time.
rather than the advertising.
It was a beautiful
Yeah,
time because 𝗃𝗏, Palo, all these things were still very safe. I mean, you still have, but the random occurrences when somebody was out of line, it would kind of resolve itself. Now, it's exploded in a way where, you know, I feel like if we're not careful, we could lose our identity and who we are if we focus too much on the wrong thing. And that's why we as a channel,
exactly.
we really make a point to bring people such as yourself and other people who were able to experience that golden era to a certain degree of what Espiritismo was, Palo was, 𝗃𝗏 was, to see if we can preserve
Well,
some
when
resemblance
it
of it.
comes to El Palo and Sarabanda in particular, there is one person that is a real encyclopedia about that, and his name is Jose Pagano. You know him because he brought me to you,
Wow.
and he is very much a walking encyclopedia of Palo.
Wow.
And I leave that open to you.
And you never know, man. The chair is always open in my regards to that brother. And,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Right
it's,
now
it's,
he's on a trip right now, but yeah, I'm hoping he sees this so I don't have to just put my finger on the dials and call him and say, you better call him. Because you know him well. In fact, you know him longer than I do.
wow,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, the chair is always open. And Freddie, I can't say how much we appreciate you taking the time to come on. You've gotten such a
Oh
great
no.
response from our public. And, you know, any final
Always.
words for all these people who are trying to identify their guides and grow spiritually? What advice you can give to them for to come bring things full circle?
Hold on. So sorry to interrupt.
Oh, we got another call?
Sorry, Freddie. But everybody wants to know: have you had any interactions with your extraterrestrial friend?
Oh, with Arthur.
If I've had any interaction with,
Do you remember Freddie in the first interview where you were getting you know, spiritual messages from possibly you know, extraterrestrial or like a higher power
oh
and things
yeah,
like that? People really
Arthur,
want to know if there's any updates on that. They were very
yes,
intrigued.
Arthur, yeah. Well, there's a reason why all of a sudden the entire world, especially in the areas like Ukraine, is reporting all kinds of UFO sightings that have been verified by governments. It's no longer a a hidden thing, especially when it comes to South America, Antarctica, Southern Africa, and the Indian subcontinent, especially because of their proximity to an area in Antarctica that is known to be a portal of entry, to the point that there is an area that is absolutely off limits to any aircraft of any nation in the world in Antarctica, and is guarded what is going in and what is coming out. That's number one. Number two, the people who wrote the TV program Star Trek were really on to something. Somebody there had to have much more contact than that.
Freddie, I think we have another call, Freddie.
Yep.
Oh man,
Okay.
here we go. We got to get back to that. Yeah, we got to get back to that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You're live on the air. Who's this?
Hi, this is Malachi.
Hey, Malachi.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, I just noticed that I put a lot of messages in there, and I saw someone else had a message, so I wanted to just say everything so that he could have a chance to like get his message.
Nice, definitely.
So in the thing I asked, like, were there any mentors to mine that he had in mind of someone that I could speak to about Native spirituality? I currently go to school in Wisconsin, and I'm trying to get connected with the Menominee tribe spiritual elders, and it's taken a little longer than expected, but it would be nice to connect. Also, my family lineage on my black side is connected to the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏, and then on my white side is where the Canadian roots are and the South American roots. When I was younger, there were Native spirits that looked like Abraham Lincoln, had a top hat, very like, I guess like black energy in a way. And I was arguing with my parents over a chore before, and I was like 7 years old, and it appeared to me in a wall after I didn't listen, and it said, "You better stop." And then it revealed itself, and then I was crying and all that extra stuff on the ground, and my parents were trying to console me and stuff. I wanted to know if there was any Native spirits that look like that.
Oh, yes. You'd be surprised what they might look like. All kinds. Okay. Number one, when you said the 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗃, well, that is South Carolina, and there is a town in South Carolina that's very well known for being a town of English-speaking santeros. It's called 𝗿𝗲𝗿𝗃. It's on the map. You can look it up. You can find it, and you can go there because it is open to the public, and it is a place that you're not going to forget very soon. For your
Awesome.
other part of the indigenous, your best bet is to be in touch with people that you know are attending spiritual ceremonies that have to do with Native American, but with a big grain of salt. They have to be Native American. If they're not, they're the wannabes. And it's not the same as having a spiritual, a deity that really is over you and very indigenous. Is still at second place to having an actual Native entity there. I mean, person there. Okay. And as far as the Abraham Lincoln type, that will speak for itself over the years. And that has a lot to do with the more you academically study, the quicker you're going to have more contact with that. But I would concentrate right now on the 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗃, and I would go to the ocean, and the way they call Yemaya is different. They call her Mama Joe, because in the olden time, the slave times, the accent and the interpretations and the translations would get all garbled up. So like there's a book called 𝘄cie and the Mermaid. It is a children's book, but it is one that will illuminate a lot to do with that area of your life. You can get it on Amazon, and it's all about the 𝗀𝗏𝗋 experience, and it's all about Yemaya.
Wow.
You have a lot to do in South Carolina, trust me.
That's true. My family's from South Carolina. We're from Darlington County.
Well, then you know the place I'm talking about, I'm sure. On top of that, in North Carolina, sometimes you will run into real spirit people that have a direct ancestry with Allegheny, the real corn cob pipe type of people. The ones that have a rattlesnake that they kiss and they caress, and you know the type I'm talking about. Okay?
Yes,
They're
sir.
usually very white and very, very too much to themselves, and they don't like dealing with anybody else. But when they do,
Do they
they're better than I will play one against any Hogan or Mambo going. Okay? They can be
Yes, sir.
dangerous.
Yes, they dress all white?
Huh?
I said, did you say that they dress in all white?
If they have Santo Maid, or if they're in Yabo, or if simply they want to. That has nothing. White is always a very preferred color unless you are Oriental, because I know in China, white is the color of mourning and black is the spiritual color, as well as red.
Yeah.
So, it depends on the culture.
Only reason I ask is because one of my great uncles that's on my dad's side, he wore all white a suit, and my dad would never let me speak to him because of the spiritual stuff that he used to practice.
Well, he was probably conjure, right? Or root work. Yeah, he knew how to take that Bible up and down and do with it what people do not think the Bible is used for. But
Absolutely, I've been reading that.
You have American blacks, especially that I know of, that they are pastors even, but they'll take the Psalms and make you think twice about the Holy Ghost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Malachi, thank you.
Interesting stuff.
They'll cure you or they'll kill you.
Interesting stuff.
You know about that. I pick up, about that because there's someone in your family, like you said, but they're not so far away either. There's one in this generation that lives right now as we speak, and they about to come out of the woodwork to you one day.
Malachi, he dropped, but we appreciate the call, Malachi. Thank you.
We got some shout outs, right, Phil?
Yes, we do. I know before we get out of here, we got to show some love.
Oh, here we go.
To our members, those who are watching live with us today, you're already here, so thank you. Those who are watching this on the premiere on the public, it's all good. So let's show some VIP love.
Oh yeah.
To Divine Destiny Healing.
Thank you.
All right, let's show some love to 𝗀𝗻𝗃 of 5 months.
Mel, thank you.
We got a new VIP member with Amanda Rivera.
Awesome, Amanda.
We got
thank
a
you.
6-month VIP with Clear Life Movement.
Awesome.
And let's show some love to our super fans here. We got Filipino 𝗀𝗲𝗏.
Awesome.
We got a 7-month super fan with Kenya
Wow.
Hutton. And
Thank
a
you, Kenya.
6-month super fan with I Am Justina. So thank you guys.
Freddie, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Can't say it enough. And to all the people that watched, see the light, guys. Thank you.
See
Have a great
ya.
one.
Thank you.